All right. All right, all right. It's time to take it to the max. Arr, arr. What's up? 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 Welcome to another episode of the greatest show on earth. Or at least that's what I think in my head. Probably not, though. Welcome to another episode of DTV. It is episode number 12. And oh boy, do we have some things to talk about because clearly, well, I heard things aren't going well for some people out there. I don't know, but it does seem like some pretty shady shit's gone down, and it's a little bit weird, my friends out there. I wonder just how bad it's gonna get. If this is how it's gonna be, then oh tee, it seems like lots of creators out there are gonna have lots to talk about. Maybe even the news. Maybe. Possibly. But I don't know. So I was taking a look at all of the nice things that people dropped into the Discord, because we have a Discord, right? You know, like we got people in there. They be talking about people and stuff like that. You know, we be discussing things. If you want to join us, I'll drop the link into the chat for y'all so you can check it out. Either way, we're trying to get our nut up. If you know what's up's up. And also, as always, please be sure to hit that like button and make sure you answer the question out there, because the question of the day is, was it dirty what Taylor Lorenz did? And if you don't know what she did, don't you worry about it, because we're going to be talking about it. And let me just tell you, in my opinion, it was quite the shadiest thing for her to do. Yeah. But before we get into all that stuff, I was looking at housing markets, and it seems like right now is probably not a great time to buy a house. And I don't know, I've been looking at certain things. There's this Twitter account called Inflation Tracker, and it's at Track Inflation if you wanted to follow it. 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates just hit 6.8 75%. The housing market is going to collapse. Wow, that's weird. What is that right there? Holy shit, 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 6.8%. That's fucking insane. That's a huge number right there. 30-year fixed FHA, 5.6%? What happened to 3%? You know, what happened to that? Because that's a lot. That seems to be quite a lot. And it's really weird when you look at this thing right here and it talks about what happens with your mortgage payment when your rate goes from 2% to 7%. Well, it's an absolute fucking bloodbath. You look at that, a 2% interest rate for a mortgage payment of $2,700 is $176,000 in interest paid. But at 7%, your payment nearly doubles at $4,500, and your interest has increased to 7. Is that 7? That is a 7. Wow, $718,000 in total interest paid. Yeah, seems like the housing market's probably going to collapse again because people haven't been able to pay their mortgages. And then there was that whole little biddy with all those landlords that all of a sudden were getting rent payments because, you know, like there was this whole Roni-virus thing. And then this like CDC was all like, no, you got to put a moratorium on evictions, even though that was way exceeding their power. Yeah. The housing crisis is upon us. Yet people talk about recessions when the inflation goes really high, and some people are trying to say we're not going into a recession, but I don't know. The signals that are out there to me kind of seem like, well, if the percentage rates on housings are going up, then yeah, it's probably going to be a really bad time to buy a house right now. But that's okay if you're selling a house. That just means that right now is probably the best time to sell your house before everything goes kaput, because you know it's going to go kaput. And I thought that was quite of a interesting thing to view when we're like, who the fuck's fault is that? Is that Donald Trump's fault? Is that Joe Biden's fault? Is that all the people that didn't pay their mortgages and shit's fault? I mean, who's really going to be the one that's hurting the most on this one? The banks probably, and they're going to get another bailout maybe, possibly. I'm sure that we're curbing our spending in other ways to make sure that, you know, this isn't a possibility. But then again, hey, what's the easiest way to make sure that you don't have all kinds of bad shit happen? I don't know. Maybe you could just like forgive people. Hey, everybody, we're just going to forgive you for all your housing loans. Let's just fucking do that. Why don't we just buy a house and never pay it off and then just get it for free? Why can't we do that? Isn't that like what people want? You will owe nothing and be happy. But for now, can I get my free house and then you guys can do all your bullshit later on? Can you just like wait? Could you? Possibly? Maybe? It would be cool if you did. So that's kind of a thing to keep in mind. You might want to look into that for your own situation. Or if you have one of them fixed rate or non-fixed rate mortgages, you might want to go take a peep at that because things might be getting bad for you. Oh, yes. Which is interesting, but not as interesting as what is really happening to other people out there. They have that saying, go woke, go broke. Well, guess what? Netflix lost 200,000 global subscribers and could lose 2.5 million subscribers this spring. Because, well, they went woke, and now apparently they're going broke because people are just leaving their shit, you know, pretty quickly. I don't know why it's happening. You know, I don't have all the information, but it seems like people are finally fed up with cuties Netflix, trying to groom your children, so on and so forth. You big mouth. Wow. I really tried to put in a whole bunch of memes on that one. I hope it worked. Either way, it's a little strange, but not so strange when we just saw that whole CNN Prime thing started going really downhill. And when you start trying to tell your customers how to think and how to act, people get really, like, F you. That's what they get. Like, they get F you. So, Do I feel sorry for Netflix? No. They stole a business model that we fucking pitched to them, so they can suck on my pee-pee 100% of the time, 1,000% of the time, and there's nothing that they could ever change about the truth of that statement. Suck on my wee-wee. That's what I say to them. That's what I say to them! And why do I say that to them? Because basically the world is turning out to be a very, very strange place. But hey, if we're having so many problems in the housing market, wouldn't it be very strange to learn that the United States just forgave 40,000 student loans and provided aid to 3.6 million more? What? Wait, we're spending money again? Wait, we are really spending money again, aren't we? Or we're not spending money, we're just forgiving money that these deadbeats never paid back? Fucking Gen Z, Millennial, Gen Xer, I don't know, man, like fucking kids. Pay shit, motherfuckers. But yes, it's being reported through Reuters, which, no longer offers free articles because apparently their news isn't good enough anymore, or maybe it's too good for us regular people. But yes, the Biden administration is saying, hey, we're going to start forgiving student loan debt, so congratulations to you if you were one of the lucky 40,000 that got their entire loan forgiven, as long if it was lower than like 50,000 or maybe it was 39,000. I'm not exactly sure, but they are saying that they're going to be extending forgiveness to 3.6 million more students, but we don't technically know what that's going to be. But if you've been watching the whole financial situation for any given time, you'd realize that the student loan bubble, the student loan deficit is getting mighty big, and they can forgive some of these loans and stuff, and maybe that's all right. But then again, where did all those loans come from, or many of the loans come from? And it's probably going to be almost from like one corporation, Career Education Corporation of America, because remember, there was a lot of scams. They talked about Trump having a college scam too for a while, didn't they? Where you'd pay to go to college and you would get your degree, but then, a couple of years later, your school gets shut down. That's what happened to me in Le Cordon Bleu, College of Culinary Arts in Scottsdale, Arizona. I had a really great time there, got some really good beep, but all in all, it was a good time for me. I learned a lot of really great stuff, and I had fun with it, but I got literally booty blown by that entire situation monetarily wise, and I got lucky enough that they forgave my first loan for me because, well, the school closed down, and why should I have to pay for an education that's worth dick? Well, I shouldn't. And they decided the same thing. And then later on, some dick fuck stole my identity, and then all of a sudden I have another student loan that somebody took out under my name, and that one disappeared too. And now I could probably go out and get a student loan or something like that, but I am not going to do that, because why would nearly 40-year-old me need to go back to school? If I'm going to school, I'm only going to school to fucking heckle teachers and shit and figure out which one of these motherfucking Harvard motherfuckers is out there teaching all these dumbasses all this dumbass shit. It might be worth it, but, I couldn't get people to pay for me to go to Harvard way back then. Why are they going to do it now? They're not, but they could. They could. Maybe I could just get some loans, and then go and get it forgiven. That would be sweet, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be sweet. But what would my fat ass be doing in college? I'd be like, I'm way older than what's his name, was in that one movie. But I still look like him, though. But that's fine. That's cool. That's cool for me. I just think that some strange stuff is afoot out there, and I know that you've been enjoying breathing clearly, not being mandated to wear masks, and I regret to inform you that the Justice Department is looking to appeal the ruling that strikes down the mask mandate if the CDC decides to approve, because apparently the Justice Department is going to appeal something for the CDC, but the CDC has to approve it, even though the CDC's down here, Justice Department way up here. Why the fuck are these dudes approving the shit for these dudes? So you may be forced to wear that mask on airplanes and public transportation and stuff, Don't you think that you're out the woods yet, little Sonny Jim? They're probably going to mask you back up before you know it, or at least try to vax you up, which isn't like the greatest thing in the world, but it's something to think about when you're really essentially doing all of the good stuff out there. Yeah, all the good stuff out there. And honestly, these are just small news stories to kind of give you a little amuse-bouche, a little palate cleanser before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show today, because some shit happened today, and it's involving somebody that we watched a funny-ass video about not that long ago, somebody that was crying about online terrorism and people going after them and cancel culture and all this other crap. Well, mother suckers, it happened again. Oh, yes. And, well, I mean, it always happens, you know, these doxing situation, but there was this really sweet account. We've watched videos that were posted to the account. The libs of TikTok. Amazingly, the lady apparently, allegedly behind the libs of TikTok has been doxed, and she's been doxed by none other than Taylor Lorenz. You remember Taylor Lorenz? If you don't remember Taylor Lorenz, I got some videos and shit for you so you can check that shit out, man. It's gonna be some funny shit. But essentially, let's just read the headlines. Libs of TikTok has become central to the right-wing politics. Why Taylor Lorenz's libs of TikTok expose has outraged conservatives. Conservatives cry doxing after expose reveals woman behind libs of TikTok. Who is Chaya Raichik, the woman allegedly behind libs of TikTok? Oh. So Taylor Lorenz just straight up went out and doxed somebody? How bad did she dox her? She didn't post her like public address and shit in the Washington Post, did she? Did she? She didn't do that, right? Right? She did. She really did. She really did. And I mean, I've been kind of like scrolling down libs of TikTok over here on the Twitter, and man, there's some takes out there, and there's some people saying some pretty crazy shit like, libs of TikTok is a proud defender of grown men still having sex with boys who are still in middle school. Unsurprisingly, her entire narrative about kids and teachers grooming kids is a massive projection. And then there's a fake tweet right there. Oh, cool. Cool. So we're going to this round? We're going to this nature? Well, Timcast put something up saying that, yes, the Washington Post literally published the home address of a popular critic to the left, the Libs of TikTok account. She just straight up fucking doxed her, posted the whole address in the goddamn article to the point where everybody was bitching and pissed off about it, and she removed it. But the thing is that it was there, and where the hell is Twitter at with the Washington Post banning their shit? They banned New York Post for what? Posting stuff about some dude's laptop where he's smoking crack and possibly having intercourse with underage females, but, you know, who really knows? Only you sick, demented perverts that got that copy of that laptop be looking through all of it like you're some kind of, like, super spy or some shit. But, yes, it was a real thing. It really happened. They really removed the link, and, you know, it gets you in a really, really strange situation overall because there's a lot of stuff that went into this. So, first off, here's a video. Wait a minute. Taylor Lorenz says online harassment is a huge problem because it's a tool to silence people, especially women.
And online harassment is such a misnomer. I think it's a huge problem because harassment is a tool to silence people, especially women and people of color or people from marginalized identities. For speaking out, and there's a very intentional like goal behind it. It's obviously it's death threats and all of that and rape threats on the daily, and it's not just Twitter. It's like every single surface, right? Like, you know, my cell phone number getting out there, people calling, people harassing my family members, stalking me, like all of that is incredibly terrifying and invasive, and it's bled out into the physical world too, which is even more terrifying, right? Yeah. But to me, I think what especially the media needs to understand about this is, in terms of protecting their own reporters, is this is just a tool. Like, harassment is a tool to kind of discredit and silence journalists, and the right-wing media plays along with it. Right? You mentioned Tucker Carlson.
Weird. She thinks that, like, cancel culture and doxing people's families and all that shit is really bad, and harassing people online is bad. Then why does this chick do this shit for a living? Somebody, please explain to me how all of this works out, because remember, this was Taylor Lorenz, 49-year-old elderly woman.
You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life.
Like you?
And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying.
It's horrifying.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
You feel like any little piece of
It's
information.
really hard.
I just want to expose
Who did it better,
any
though?
piece of information and get it out to use.
Who did it better?
against you. Because I'm one of the worst people on the internet, and I love to destroy lives. And it's so important to make these people feel isolated.
And terrifying.
I'm horrifying. I'm so sorry.
Fine.
I just didn't think these idiots would really publish their views and force me to write an article blaming conservatives for it. It's overwhelming. It's really hard.
It's really hard. Honestly, I think this chick probably did it a little better. It was a little more believable. Good acting. I talked to private citizen and her extended family and people who beat me to me online. Where? Seriously? Like, seriously? Like, these are the top. This is the creme de la creme. This is the best that the Washington Post has to offer. Somebody who literally cries about online harassment and then turns around and does the same exact online harassment to target individuals, to silence them, marginalize them, and basically make them into nobodies.
Information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. It's horrifying.
It's horrifying. It is horrifying because this is one of the worst people on the internet, just going after or trying to dox somebody because she believes X, Y, Z. And I mean, hi Taylor Lorenz, which one of my relatives did you enjoy harassing at most of their homes today? And yeah, that's right. Taylor Lorenz actually went to all these people's houses, was trying to like get comments, take pictures. So who's the real stalker here? You know, just because you're a fucking journalist or a so-called journalist doesn't give you the carte blanche to do whatever the fuck you want. And you can't cry about online harassment when you are one of the main sources for online harassment out there. It's kind of crazy. Like, she almost literally gets paid to stalk people at this point. Anybody that's against the left and is making fun of them in any way, we're going to dox you. We're going to make sure that you can't live and work, and everybody's going to know where you live. And then all those crazy Antifa people are going to protest outside of your house. Yeah. Well, it's wild to me that the institutions have employed Taylor Lorenz to do important reporting on influential dark places on the web that are reshaping society and are fundamentally incurious about the organized online campaigns against her. Who coordinates them and why? FWIW. WAPO has been great. My editor totally gets it, and the managers have been so supportive. I'm not pressed about any of this stuff. Idiots online can whine all they want and post wild lies about me. I'll just keep doing my stories. Hope you're staying safe out there. Yeah. Really, does this seem like the same chick that was crying about online harassment and stalking? Because now she's like, oh yeah, it ain't no thing. I'm totally cool with all that stuff. I can handle it. I just had to like make this weird video that was going to make sense later because I wasn't actually crying about myself. I was talking about what I was going to do in the future. Cool. Taylor Rentz harassed an account yesterday. Hi, I'm just following up here. You've been mentioned as administrator of the Libs of TikTok account on Twitter, and I need to turn my story in today. Is that your account? Please let me know ASAP, because you're being implicated in a hate campaign against LGBTQ people. And if you're unaffiliated with the account, I want to make sure to set the record straight in the story. If it is your account, I'd love to speak with you about it. I'm on blank if you want to give me a ring and let me know. Hope to hear from you. Hi, I'm going to say that you're a part of this whole entire organization that I hate that doesn't like gay people or whatever, because that's how I attack people nowadays. And if you don't answer me, I'm just going to say you are. Woo! Sweet. Sweet. These people are great. These people are the best people I've ever seen in my life.
You've been doxxed, you've been threatened, you've been harassed by Tucker Carlson just for calling out online harassment.
They'll threaten children, they'll threaten my parents. I've had to remove every single social tie. I had severe PTSD from this. I contemplated suicide. It got really bad. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's...
I bring a message from Her Majesty Taylor Lorenz. Freedom to any man who identifies the slave known as Libs of TikTok. I'm Libs of TikTok.
No, I'm Libs of TikTok.
I'm Libs of TikTok.
I'm Libs of TikTok.
Oh, I'm Libs of TikTok.
I'm Libs of TikTok.
We're all Libs of TikTok, guys.
You've been doxxed, you've been threatened, you've been harassed by Tucker.
We are. Now, all that shit with doxing myself and everything else kind of makes a little bit more sense, because, you know, you have to take their power away at the very beginning, and they can say all kinds of bad things about you, do weird shit, but eventually people are going to find out, and they ain't going to be happy, dog. They ain't going to be happy, dog. They're never going to be happy. They're never happy. They're never, ever happy. So remember, we're all Libs of TikTok right now. Why Taylor Reds gave me a deadline of an hour to respond at 8 p.m. last night. She wanted to write in the Washington Post that Governor Ron DeSantis' press secretary declined to comment on her relationship with the Libs of TikTok account, as if it's shame to follow, like, and retweet the account. Nope. Thanks for your quick reply, Christina. We'll note that you declined to comment on your relationship with the account unless you'd like to add something further. Have a nice evening. Wait, this is a comment right here. Relationship with the account? What do you mean by that? I follow, like, and retweet Libs of TikTok. My interactions with the account are public, and she does a great job exposing degeneracy by showcasing liberals in their own words. It's a shame that any journalist would want to ruin her life. That seems like a comment, actually. It seems like she gave her a direct comment to publish. And, well, apparently, she was just like, nah, I'm just going to say, yeah, I didn't get a comment from you. This is a thing that happens to me a lot, actually, where journalists will reach out to me about asking some questions about something, and I will give them my response and be all like, this is my comment. Please publish it in its entirety. Thank you. And they never do. They're just like, we're just going to say that you refused to comment. And I'm like, but I didn't refuse to comment. I gave you a comment. This is my comment. Please go. And they're like, oh, we don't like your comment, or it makes us look like dipshits, so we ain't gonna use it. Tight. On March 8th, the Twitter account called Libs of TikTok posted a video of a woman teaching sex education to children in Kentucky, calling the woman in the video a predator. The next evening, the same clip was featured on Laura Ingraham's Fox News program, prompting the host to ask, when did our public schools, any schools, become essentially grooming centers for the gender identity radicals? In the video, Taylor Revenge is describing a self-described magical pleasure worker who runs the sexy summer camp for children in rural Kentucky. Oh, right. These girls. These women are running a sexy summer camp for children in rural Kentucky with lessons on sex liberation, gender exploration, BDSM, being a sexual worker, self-managed abortions, and sexual activity while using illicit and illicit drugs. Damn. Oh, right. Okay, so interesting. Not actually a public school, but looks like a bunch of groomers getting ready to groom a bunch of kids into BDSM and shit. They're like, look, little girl, we want you to be part of our club of rather large women. Yeah. Kind of interesting, if you really ask me, isn't it? Oh, yes. Very interesting indeed. So, I noticed that this, and some people were saying this website can't be for free, but I looked here and I saw, well, none other than Rocco Castorio. And he did actually find some pretty interesting things. He says, Chud's complaining Taylor Red's reporting on the libs of TikTok's Chaya Raichik doxes a private person. Won't be shocked to find the FL corporate filings of LibTalk LLC, or Libs of TikTok LLC, especially if Seth Dillon is listed as the manager. And yeah, that's actually right. Libs of TikTok LLC got some names, business, Brian. Oh, look at that. Seth Dillon, manager. Seth Dillon, manager. Isn't that the guy from fucking Babylon Bee? That is the guy from Babylon Bee. Very, very interesting, if you ask me. But there's always going to be more, right? Because Seth Dillon actually comes out and says himself, the exposure of Lib TikTok isn't journalism, it's pure intimidation. They're threatening her by her effectiveness, and they hope to silence her by making her too afraid to continue. They want to raise the cost of her doing work so high that she has no choice but to quit. But I think they'll be surprised by her resolve. She's afraid as anyone would be in these circumstances, but she's also determined to not be bullied, threatened, or harassed into silence. That takes remarkable courage that few people possess. I think they'll be surprised by the support she receives, and I want them to know that she won't be canceled from her job because this is her job now. I've worked out a deal with her that will turn her heroic, high-risk work into a career. They may have exposed her, but they'll never stop her. Long live Libs of TikTok. Interesting. So the Babylon Bee actually made it so that this lady could do that shit full time, and they're trying to take that away from her, not realizing that the lady's already been heavily insulated by other people that they've canceled on Twitter and other places. And I mean, look, we got Stephen Monticelli, bro, you wrote a dollar store version of The Onion. Really? Because does anybody ever talk about Onion articles, or is it always all about the Babylon Bee? Oh, right. It's always been about the Babylon Bee. Fuck that other shit. Even more so, think about this. Crabcrawler pointed out a former Twitter employee assisted Taylor Lorenz in doxing Libs of TikTok, and we actually have some screenshots and things that basically show us who it is. And one of the guys that was out there putting out all of the information and helping her basically figure out who these people are was actually a guy named Travis Brown, who went through and said a bunch of really interesting things. Like, pro tip, if you want to run a viral moral panic account from the worst people on earth and stay anonymous, maybe you should start from scratch and doing whatever the fuck this is. And it's literally all of her different Twitter accounts from her screen ID. It's because every Twitter account has an ID that's associated with it. So even if you change your names, they can still follow the IDs. And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? Travis Brown was actually working for Twitter. Former worker for Twitter. Not one of the ones that's working, I guess, with them right now. But he seems to be the one that did all the investigative work for Taylor. Basically, you know, wrapped everything up in a bow and handed it to her. To the point where she's like, oh, fuck, this is even crazier than anybody experienced it. Because, oh, right. We knew that the activists were always working at Twitter, or at least at one point they were working at Twitter and still listed on their, you know, like website and shit. Which is, I think, kind of really strange, actually. Like, German Federal Ministry of Education is providing financial backing to Travis Robert Brown's hate speech tracker. Oh, damn. He's even made it hate speech tracker? Huh. Wow. This is some pretty intense, crazy shit if you really think about it. I mean, even more so, Taylor's still out there talking about how she's getting doxxed and all this other stuff and crying that, yeah, it's still happening to me. I did it to somebody else and now you people are doing it to me and you're not allowed to do it to me because I'm the best. But
Let's make 2022 year. It's called boundaries, people. It's called boundaries. And I'm not talking like Rachel Hollis bullshit where like she made her a whole thing about her relationship and then, you know, she divorced and didn't want to talk about it. I just mean average content creators are entitled to have parts of their offline life that you won't know about, and you don't need to go on some deep investigative journey. Also, I'm not sub-talking anyone. This is just something I've noticed in the comments, and as a reporter, people are constantly asking me to dig up.
wow. So finally, we could get into the actual news stories about all this stuff. Most of them are just kind of talking about Chaya Raichik. And what did we already learn? Well, yes, this is the person that's behind the account. Yes, she's got funding, so the cancellation thing isn't really going to help her. But now that we know that there's ex-Twitter employees involved with this stuff, it's going to be real interesting to see what the mob does eventually, because you know they want to get rid of the account. They've already suspended it for some pretty shady shit, but ultimately, they're going to try to crush this person by any means necessary because it's hate speech or whatever. But, you know, you could go back to Travis Brown's Twitter account and say, update, I just found deleted tweets in which lives at TikTok Chaya Raichik claims to have participated in the January 6th insurrection. The insurrection! But yeah, there you go. Apparently, she's in this video somewhere. And then she was like, there were rubber bullets from law enforcement. Run hit right next to me. I'm taking off work to come support Trump. Every single supporter matters. Don't think that just because you're an average citizen without a Twitter following, that you don't matter. Every single person matters, and we owe it to Trump, who hasn't stopped fighting for us. Uh-oh. Rip. They're gonna try to fucking destroy her. And oh, what's that? Tear gas in action? And there was a video that was there? Deleted tweets, though. So, ex-Twitter employees scraping and finding all the little bitty bits. Here's a way back archive screenshot of the posts in question. Oh, look at that. January 6th. Damn! These people go deep. More context. HT again to Karma616 for catching libs. Oh, Karma616! I remember this little account. What's up, you little bitch? I'm coming for you. And I know what you've done. And don't worry, I have been feeding many poison pills to all your little friends. And it's about time to snap them into place. Well, you wait. It's going to be real. It's going to be real good because if you didn't know, this account that's got me blocked that I can't see his tweets or whatever, this guy is probably behind most of the most violent left-wing attacks on people that you've ever seen. This guy's entire life is wrapped up with destroying people online. And very interesting that the whole Taylor Lorenz, Travis Brown characters all line up with the same group of fuckwads that were coming after me. Data Collect, Aaron Gallagher, that one bitch that, Lestat was been hanging out with. Oh, right. So that the shit that I was saying, that there was this dark, nefarious underbelly of people that are coming after everyone, and they all seem to like be incestually related, was real true. So, I guess now that we know, it was this guy doing all of the work back on the 16-17, and it's just kind of how it goes, I guess, you know? It's just how it goes, man. It's just how it goes now, bro. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it's coming from, but now that we know where all of this is coming from, it leaves us a real easy way of kind of tracing back all the sources and stuff, because, yeah, it looks like, yeah, we kind of already know exactly who was all behind it, don't we? Yeah, we do. We do. And dang, thanks, Shat Tang Tang, whatever your name is, for the $1.99 saying, fucking defangatang, Jesus Christ, where have you been? And I was dead. What do you mean, where have I been? I died, and he hath risen, because you can't kill me, because I have that genetic disorder that makes my bones really hard, to the point of insanity, and you know, like every time I die, I just like get revived or whatever, I just like get back up after a while. I don't know. Maybe it was an Easter joke. I don't know. But what I do know is that, woo! Look at that! The same characters. So we have Travis Brown, who was all wrapped up in the last time that we got nuked on old Twitter. And then we got good old smooth brain himself, Rocco Castorio, in there. Also doing all of that same kind of work, working with Travis Brown to expose who is behind the account so that they could destroy their lives and ruin everything about them. Wow. Kind of crazy when you really think about it, isn't it? It's almost like these guys are just like they just keep tagging in the same group of motherfuckers, and they never change it. And I mean, we haven't even looked at the Washington Post article that started this whole fucking thing, which is meet the women behind the lids of TikTok accounts secretly fueling the right's outrage machine. Yeah, stop fueling the outrage machine. You're not allowed to fuel the outrage machine. Only I'm allowed to fuel the outrage machine because I'm Taylor Rich. Yeah, who's yoked? Not her. So here's the actual article, and honestly, it's just kind of like venom being spit all over the place, and you can see that she's crying that this account's being talked about by Joe Rogan and all this other crap, but essentially, this is like the pièce de la resistance for her campaign of doxing. They're doing the same thing that they say they hate. Weeks later, she's doing it to somebody else, and it's a big deal because she's a journalist. If you're not a journalist, don't you come and traipsing into our journalism realm. You're only going to meet a bunch of people who never quite made it to the greatest that they had, or they had the great shit and then they lost it all. And now they're trying to claw it back by, tweeting and doxing people, which is like totally 2010 type shit. Like, hello, old school anonymous called. They want their fucking playbook back because y'all are bitches. But hey, I guess that's really how it's going to be, because this person decided to go out, start doxing people, all of that crap, and then what does it really mean? And why did she do it, huh? Because she really is a champion of LGBTQ rights and shit? Because not all of the people that were on there were that. She was just going after leftists in general. It's not her fault that a majority of them seem to have differing opinions about how biology is supposed to work. Weird. So, honestly, you're completely allowed to post whatever content that you want to post online within reason, but you can't get mad when people start cutting it up and doing all this shit to it, especially if you're a disgusting human being. I know, because I'm apparently a disgusting human being, and people do this shit to me all the time, and I just kind of got to get over it, man. I tried to be good. I tried to be the best. But you know what? I guess I'll just end up having to accept being the worst. And being the best at being the worst is all right for me. Because you know what? I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right? Or half empty, or whatever. I don't know. There was some kind of lesson in there for you. So what happened to all of this stuff? Why is all of this going down? Why is the libs of TikTok making people so mad? Is it because they come from the depths of hell? Or is it because they're doing something that the left hates seeing the conservatives do by basically being successful? Yeah.
Write about the West Elm Caleb story. No, I'm on book leave. I can't keep writing pieces for the New York Times. I literally do have a lot of deadlines. But journalists who are writing about it, please speak to people with experience in online harassment. I'm not gonna lie, I've been pretty horrified by a lot of the media coverage of this. A lot of people are just aggregating some of the cruelest commentary online and whipping it all up into a news story with absolutely no comment from Caleb or nuance about the situation. The top story on Google yesterday was literally this House Beautiful story that doxes Caleb, puts his full name in the story, zero comment from this man. After this whole article gleefully encourages this online harassment and doxing campaign, they literally use him to sell West Elm furniture through affiliate links. Once again, commercializing a harassment and doxing campaign. I think the media needs a total wake-up call in the way that they cover online harassment, and this is just the latest example of it. And reporters should be adding nuance, not just piling on.
Damn. Holy shit. Are you serious? Like, you're bitching about the same thing that you just did to somebody. You just did that shit to somebody. Like, exactly. Like, dox them, fucking put out their name and shit. You followed that exact same playbook. I want to be on the front page of Google. Oh, I could steal what they're doing and then I can make it. Yeah, outrage always gets me where I want to go.
I'm really interested. Why do you suppose the German government wanted to shut down your Twitter feed?
Well, I think that what I'm doing is very effective, and I think that a lot of people wanted to shut me down. They wanted to intimidate me into silence, and unfortunately for them, that's just never going to happen.
Well, I'm grateful to hear that you're not intimidated. Were you a little surprised to see, of all people, Taylor Lorenz, who complained bitterly when we used her name on the air several months ago, who whined and cried on television because she had PTSD because people were criticizing her online? Were you surprised that it was her who came after you personally and tried to destroy your life?
Yeah, I thought that was really humorous. It added a really nice layer of humor on top of the whole story. And I think that the fact that it was Taylor Lorenz, who is a known, hypocrite and she is known to dox people, the fact that it was her that was doing all this, I think it just helped people rally with support for me.
Have you noticed, I know you're not a psychiatrist, or perhaps you are, I don't know who you are, but are you surprised that the people who are the most deeply
But what am I?
enmeshed in narcissism, who talk about themselves the most, are also capable of the greatest cruelty? Have you noticed that trend?
Yes, I've noticed that a lot. I've noticed it with a lot of TikToks as well. I think it's a little bit of a trend on the left.
Yeah. I obsess over myself, so I'm willing to hurt you. So what's your status since we have you on the phone? How are you doing tonight? You don't need to tell us where you are, but how has this affected your life?
Where are you? We fucking know. We already know.
Well,
they doxed her.
The past 2 days have been very chaotic and overwhelming. I have to make some travel plans, really fast, but I was not planning on earlier, so there was a little bit of coordination that had to happen, and I'm now in a location where I don't think anyone would find me, not in any of the locations that Taylor Lorenz leaked or that anyone can find. But it's been a little bit tough, but I'm not going to let this get me down.
Well, I hope we see you in our studio someday. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
I hope we see you in our studio. Yeah, that's the lives of TikTok creator. A woman who is Jewish and apparently a mother. And yeah, that's who Taylor Lorenz is going after. They go after women and they say all these bad things. But here we are, folks. Just going down the thing and wondering what's happening with the simulation, because, yeah, Karma 6-1. Libs of TikTok hasn't been doxed yet. They've only been identified. Write that down. And yeah, it was Karma 616, wasn't it? It was actual internet terrorist psychopaths. No way. No way. No way. No way. No way. Yeah, kind of interesting that even the biggest hack channels out there, like the Surfs TV, spread fake misinformation and a coordinated attack against a female Jewish minority mother. Wow. I mean, you can't really make this shit up anymore, baby.
Whining about herself on television, she has no skills. She couldn't do a weather forecast in a rainstorm. She's not a journalist.
Here's a piece of good old-fashioned shoe leather reporting that it examines the role of the increasingly powerful conservative media, revealing that a human behind an anonymous account that directs waves of hate and harassment at ordinary LGBTQ folks. It's called shoe leather reporting for a reason. Knocking on doors is not harassment. It's shoe leather reporting about someone who is influencing the public discourse. Nothing's stopping someone from saying no comment and closing the door or having an open, forthright conversation works. Yeah, that's right. We just call it shoe leather reporting. It's like back in the day when you had to use the sneaker net to get shit around because, you know, back in the fucking day, when I was a kid, if I wanted to play a video game, I had to put on my motherfucking sneakers and then I had to walk my happy ass to the store and buy the video game so I could get the box with the disc in it. And then I'd have to walk with my sneakers back all the way to the fucking house and then put it in the computer, you know, like close the thing and then, like install it and like have to do other shit, you know, back in the day before everything was digital downloads of everything. Remember when you used to have to go to Redbox? That's you using what we called the sneaker net because you got to walk over there with your sneakies, right? Because back in the day, you know, we didn't fucking download shit off the internet. The internet was slow. 56 kilobytes a second isn't exactly something that's going to get you massive amount of files. So if you needed to send something big, you had to put it on a zip disk or a floppy disk, or like just take the whole fucking hard drive and like wrap it up so that hopefully it doesn't break and then send it to your friend. Yeah, that's how it used to be back in the day. So is it bad that we see all these people doing shoe leather reporting, or is it bad when it's only bad when people that they don't like are doing it, right? Yeah. You don't even own your games anymore. That's right. So if you got to remember it, you got to remember it that way. But I always, you know, when I say these things, then thanks King Samaga for the like or whatever. But yeah, sneakernet right there. Slang term for referring to physically transporting data rather than sharing it over the network. Yeah, you use the old sealer. Or you can use shoe leather reporting, which is journalism involving walking from place to place and observing and things and speaking to people. Oh, it's just shoe leather reporting. It's really good reporting. We don't even care that you doxed somebody. So, I guess that's pretty much it for today. The Libs of TikTok has been doxed, and all of the big internet bads did some very skillful reporting, because you know how they figured out who she was? It's because one of her names apparently matched her domain registration, because she's registered a website, you know, libsoftiktok.com or something like that, and the registration goes to her name because she didn't put it under her private registration. And that's how they found it. Because, you know, they were doing the low-level doxing shit that you do in order to find people's information, and they started with whois's, and then they used the name on the whois to look back at the different Twitter account names that you had, and they saw that it matched up, and then they were like, ha, we got her! And then they had Taylor Lorenz go out and do that article, and it should be making you ask yourself, how come Taylor Lorenz is hanging out with known internet terrorists? Oh, well, they're good people because they're only doing it to the bad people out there. But it's really weird, the chain of custody on the data. It's like Travis Brown and Karma616 were working on the docs, and once they got the docs, it's almost like they slid it right over to Taylor, and then Taylor had to get the story out quick as fuck because she didn't want anybody else scooping her on that seed. And now you kind of understand how this whole situation works, because this is what we've been trying to show you for the last, 5-6 years of explaining to you very meticulously where all this stuff come from, who's doing what, and ask yourself this question. So if everybody's doxing Taylor Lorenz, how come nobody ever tries to dox Karma616? Or what, is his OPSEC better? And they, that's how they keep themselves anonymous? Because it seems like you could almost just go ask Travis Brown or Rocco Smoothbrain Castorio about who it is, because they probably already know. Interesting. It's okay when they dox people and put out private information and stuff, but you do it to them. No, 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 no. Bad boy, bad boy. And thank you, Mr. Yellow, for becoming a follower. I believe that's over there on the Twitch. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining a rather dubiously normal channel of a fat man. Of a fat man who does fat man things. Anyways. So, I guess it's okay for journalists to associate with terrorists and known doctors and stuff. That's totally fine. But I guess at the end of the day, we've realized something about these journalists is that they're no better than the people that they're going after. They just do it in a different way. They're on another side of the coin, but they're the same fucking coin. Except for, if you really think about it, is Lives of TikTok's not directly harassing Taylor Lorenz or anything like that. She's mocking her. They're mocking her. And there's a big difference between harassing someone viciously and their entire family and mocking them. And it's even funnier to think that, you know, this just happened to Taylor and she doesn't see any problems with her going out and doing that to somebody else. So I guess at the end of the day, the more you know about how these situations work, the more you'll notice that it's always the same names that are coming up. And remember, where did we first hear the name Karma 616? Well, it was that guy, Doug Stewart. Remember that first time he came on our show and he was explaining to me all these different names that I'd never even heard of? Fucking James McGibney, Neil Rauhauser, that one Trisha bitch or something like that. It was Doug. And then he would bring up Anon Calm and Karma 616, like verbatim. These are the people. And it was years ago. So it's almost like we've known about these guys for a long time and how they interact and operate within the journalistic field to the point where they actually might be the alt accounts of some rather well-known journalists. Now, wouldn't they? It's almost like some of these anonymous accounts and freedom fighters are just the people that are putting out the news trying to keep themselves anonymous. And whenever they see a newcomer that's playing their game, they go and try to take them down. And it's a very interesting situation. So I guess we got to give Doug some appreciation for bringing that to the table, because that's one thing that he brought. And we can't say that Doug's been some super internet fucking troll or anything, but we did say that, we did learn that the second that that dude talked about those people on our channel, we started looking at that Bullyville website or whatever, all of a sudden, they all started showing up in the chat and not being cool. And those are the same Twitter people that keep on keeping your boy down. So it's very interesting how all of this shakes out. Yeah. All of it shakes out. So with that, we're going to leave you fond fair adieu. We appreciate y'all coming through here, listening to the show. Check us out again tomorrow night, around the same damn time and on the same damn channel. And I guarantee you there's probably going to be some other shit that we're probably going to have to talk about because things are getting weird out there. And to Taylor Lorenz, I'm sorry that you suck. I'm sorry that you suck, but there's nothing I can do about that. And thanks, Purple Rain, for the ice cream over there on the D Live. Appreciate that. It's not our fault that Taylor Lorenz sucks, and it's not our fault that we're so smart that we can see through all of the bullshit. It's just that we have to be able to educate the other people out there on how to see it. And the one thing that I can think about that lives of TikTok is that maybe they got a little bit of D in them, if you know what I mean, because they're taking it the same way that I did, right? You know, it's difficult, you know, having your life ruined and shit like that, but eventually everyone gets to come back. And when you come back, you just got to be good. And even then, F the police. So, appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the follow button, whatever the hell you guys want to do out there. And before we go, we got to answer our poll. Because we had a poll. We had a poll. We had a poll. And what was the question? Was it dirty what Taylor Lorenz did? 90% of you, out of 33 votes, Illuminati confirmed, 90% of you said, yes, it was dirty what Taylor Lorenz did. And a whopping 9% of you said, no, there's people out there that actually don't believe that what was done was a problem. They see it's all fine in living war, my friends. This is a battlefield, the digital battlefield, and sometimes you're going to have to take some scalps. So I guess that's pretty much it for the day. I appreciate you. So now I'm going to play the outro. I hope you guys got your Glocks cocked, and we'll see you again on the next one. Au revoir. Bonsoir. Thank you very much. A LARPer's Paradise production in association with Monkey and a Computer. This has been the D Show.
On your feet, everybody.